Hi, I'm Matthias. I'm a psychotherapist, and I specialize in working with trauma.
Hi, I'm Joey. I'm an author and a poet.
This is a podcast where we dive deep into complicated questions.
And share our personal experiences.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll gain some insight.
Or maybe just leave with more questions.
Yeah, well, the thing is, we're two dudes who probably just need some more therapy.
Do you want to get deep?
Sure.
What do you do when you're feeling down? And I'm asking not just like...
Going down, 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 down,
Oh,
down.
what a throwback.
That's a good one, man.
But what do you do when... What is an act that you do? What is, let's say, the hobby that you do when you're just feeling out of it? When you wake up, you're like, I already know that today is not my day.
Oh yeah, like today, dude. I almost said my husband. No, my son. My son has the flu. It has been throwing up all morning, and there's barf everywhere.
So you really wanted to record
right,
today just so you can get out of...
Oh, dude. Yeah. Well, yeah. I was like, sorry, Paige, I got to go to work. Bye. No, my mother's staying with us. We're all right. So I think we have the support. But yeah. Okay, what were you asking? A bad day? Yeah, I'm having a bad day. What's up?
So it's a bad day? That's me. What's something you do? What is a task that you would do today that would just put you in a good mood, even if it's a good mood for only 5 minutes?
Yeah.
What is it? Is it cleaning up barf? I don't know.
Cleaning up barf. Well, okay, so there's two pieces here. There's something... Okay, what do you do in crisis is a good question. Like, so in the moment when the barf is ejecting from the 1.5-year-old's mouth onto your leg, there's a question of what do you do in those moments? And then there's the question of like, okay, the day's not going as good as you thought. You're not in crisis. There's not something crazy happening, but the mood that is left over from the badness is still weighing heavily over you. And then how do you kind of disrupt that mood and get in a better headspace? Is that what you're asking? Or
yeah,
which one
I want the
feels more?
leftovers. I want the leftovers of the puke.
Dude, I was about to say, if you want leftovers, check out the rug in my playroom because they're stomped into it.
All right. Give it to me.
I'm sorry. All right. You were asking what to do about the mood. Well, let's zoom up a little bit. What kind of mood do you find yourself in? Because maybe you do different things depending on what the mood kind of looks like. What are the moods you get stuck in the most?
I feel like you just flipped it into therapy mode here. I asked you, you're having a bad day. You wake up. You're just not feeling it. What's the thing you do?
All right, well, we can zoom up into mine. Yeah, so I was noticing when I got into my office today, I was feeling pretty stressed and anxious, and I was feeling like I had a pretty low bandwidth for details because I was just trying to get everything worked out with our pediatrician this morning, making sure he's drinking. My wife, of course, is feeling stressed as well. We're kind of worried that my daughter might also get sick, and so then what do we do with 2 puking kids? Should I get work done today in case I get it and then I'm puking later in the week? So I can get ahead on work. So you kind of have all these like different contingencies. I think the first thing I think of is like, give yourself a little bit of a break. You're allowed to respond when life doesn't go well and to have a normal human response. I think that some of us wish we had this machine-like or this sage-like response where we could just be completely unaffected and peaceful, I don't know, mountaintop-like senseis when life doesn't go our way. And my instinctual response in this is like, yeah, this is part of the human experience. This comes with it. And it's okay that I'm not feeling my best right now and that I'm a little stressed and overwhelmed. I guess what I'm saying there is give yourself permission to let it in. All the dysfunctional bad stuff comes when we try to shove it out and pretend like we're not actually having a reaction, and when we judge our reaction, and then we soothe it, but in ways that we're not paying attention to. And what I mean is like, I judge myself for getting overwhelmed. I call myself a bad parent when I'm getting a little bit short with my daughter because my daughter wants to like snuggle with me in the morning, but I'm like, wait, I'm covered in puke. Your brother just puked. Don't sit on my lap. You're gonna get in the puke. And then she's of course upset because I just rejected her snugs, and she doesn't understand. She's 2 years old. And then I could be like, I'm a bad dad. I lost my temper, and man, what am I doing? Or I can zoom out and be like, yeah, I don't know. That's probably a pretty normal reaction that I think most people would have had in that situation. And I can probably repair that. I can probably, after work especially, spend a little extra time with her and make sure she's getting seen. Yeah, I have awareness about that when your sibling is sick, they get most of the attention, and that's normal to feel a little bit dejected after something like that, but I can repair that. I'll spend some time with her. So you can kind of like give yourself permission, and once you give yourself permission, it sobers you up to be able to start to think about reasonable solutions. And I like that metaphor because like sober, right? So like alcohol kind of like disrupts your vision. Mm-hmm. You can't see things straight. And I think shame, frustration, self-anger, that whatever that voice is in your head that has these high expectations that doesn't let you get overwhelmed or have a bad day, that's intoxicating in the sense that you can't keep your balance, you can't walk straight, you can't think straight. So the thing that sobers that up, I think, is just giving yourself permission to be a normal human being. And then you can start to reasonably think about what you should do next. How's that? Is that all right?
No, that's not what I wanted.
Okay, so you breathe, do breathing exercises or whatever. Did you try a run? Ooh, exercise. What's the last thing you want to do in the world when you're having a bad day? Go on a run. How about that?
That's like my first thing.
Oh, really? That's the last thing I want to do. Okay. I want to order fried chicken on DoorDash.
Oh, you want to get into it? See, I find with me, it's like again, I feel like I talked about it in the last episode. If I'm feeling some type of way, I think about it in a quick transaction. So if I wake up and I'm feeling bad, I know that the things that I guess I'm kind of past that mode of giving myself the permission and the processing. And I'm now into my life where, I'm a little bit more self-aware of who I am. Okay. And so if I wake up and I'm having this bad day, I'm like, okay, here's why I had it. Here's when it happened. Here's the emotion I felt. Like I already have that all listed. And then I go over to my next list. Yeah. I go over to my next list and I'm like, okay, now I ask myself why. So
yeah,
this was the what. Now this is the why I felt that way. And then I jump into the how can I fix that portion. So if I notice that I had a bad day or if I had a headache the day before, it's like, okay, well, did I even fuel my body in order to, to give it the fuel that it needed to make it through the day? Did I move my body? For me, I need exercise or else I get all tense. Like I need to move. And hydration is super key. So those are like obviously basic things, but getting down. Work? Yeah. Oh my God. It's so simple, stupid proof that it works for me.
I'm happy it works for you. I think for some folks that would be intellectualizing it.
Yeah.
And they would kind of get into like fixing mode, which is what you're doing, right? You kind of do the analysis. All right. Mm-hmm. What you just described in the psych world, we call antecedents, right? So that's like what happened before, what led up to this, what were the inputs, because that might tell us what the outputs were, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I did too. I'm like, what did we eat last night? What did my son eat that might have been causing him to puke? Please let it be food poisoning, not the flu, because that food poisoning we can't all catch. Yeah, so I mean, you do that analysis, and then you come up with a reasonable conclusion, and you move forward. I guess what I'm talking about is the kind of bad day where the analysis falls flat and you're still kind of left lingering with this depressive, anxious, kind of insecure mood.
Yeah.
And that's where the permission piece, I think, makes a pretty big shift. But you're right. Everything you just said is like, in the moment when things aren't going well, all right, let's look. What happened before? What happened after? Do I need to eat? Am I hydrated? Great questions to ask.
I find the thing that kind of pushes me over the edge, if something disrupts, oh my God, I can't say that word. Disrupts.
I like it better. Disrupts.
Go for it. That should be in a rap song. If something gets in my way of accomplishing those tasks of what I feel that I need to complete in order to not have that bad day, that's what sends me over the edge. So if somebody else was coming to my life and be like, okay, now I need help. And it's like, well, I'm not done my tasks. I'm not done my checklist. I need to finish this in order to like get to this mode. Again, transactional, right? If I interrupt this transaction, it's not going to go through. And then that's when I find then I'm going into my bad day, my bad moment. And then
is transaction the right word or protocol? It sounds like you have a protocol. Like if I hit step, then we're in a good spot.
Yeah.
But you can use transaction if that's.
Well, I'm thinking transaction because it's something that I'm trying to accomplish, and before that is finalized, if it gets interrupted, then it doesn't go through. So you can use whatever word you want.
No, I like it. That's good.
Then I jump into where I have to give myself permission. And I find in order to give myself permission, I really have to acknowledge that. It's not just like, you can't do it in an annoyed state. I find for me, I have to actually sit and be like, okay, this fucking sucks. That's all right. Let's do it. Let's handle this moment right now. Like, let's not go back to the big picture of making today perfect. Let's sit with this for a second. And then I'm able to, it slows down a little bit so that I'm able to see it. It gets to that moment where it's a little bit zoomed out, right? Yeah.
Yeah, slowing down. I think we often make the decisions we regret the most when we're in a hurry. When we're kind of in that chaotic space of, this needs to change now. And then I'm just going to start pulling levers till something changes. That's often when we make decisions we regret. And so that, what you just said there of like slowing down, zooming out, I think is such an understated, like, secret ingredient to mental health. And that sucks because we think, well, the faster we can get through this, the faster I'll feel better. When that's not always the case. We're not always just in this like linear progression. Sometimes it's slowing down and zooming out that allows you to see just one thing needs to shift. And then if you can pull that one lever, then everything's going to move and be what it needs to be. It's not pulling as many levers as possible that actually gets you there.
You should be a therapist.
I am.
Oh, that's good. That's good. You're in a good spot.
I am. That's what I do.
Now
I need to listen to my own advice. I'm pulling levers, man. There's no lever to pull with a sick kid. It's just
you pull whatever.
The time's got to run out. That's part of it. It's like sometimes there's no fixing it too. It's just like you have a kid who's sick, or you have chronic pain, or you're in a fight with someone that you care about and they're not texting you back, and there's nothing you can do to make them text you back. It's just, you gotta wait. And so then the question is, are you taking care of yourself in the waiting? And that is a hard one as well.
I want to know, okay, now staying on this topic, except moving away from anyone else, say that you're not necessarily having a bad day, but just like you're in a funk, you're in a mood. Is there a task that you can do where you just put on your headphones, noise canceling, whatever, and then you can do that task in that moment of, 5 minutes to an hour of you doing this task, that just things kind of disappear? It's almost like your eyes are closed.
Yeah. Do you know what non-sleep deep rest is?
Non-sleep deep rest? No.
It's cool. Learned about it recently. So it's a style of meditation where you essentially kind of like, what I do is I lay on the ground. You can lay on like a chair or your bed or something. And you're not going to sleep, but you're going to close your eyes, and then you listen to typically a guided meditation from someone who brings you through a non-sleep deep rest. And you can find it for free on YouTube. There's all sorts of different ones. There's a word for it. It's like I think it starts with an N.
Yeah, it's called nap.
Yeah, no. No, it's not nap. You don't fall asleep, but what you do essentially is you kind of pay attention to like different parts of your face and your head and your body, then moving down to your neck and then to your shoulders and arms, and then down to your abdomen and your waist and your
I have heard of this.
So you're like shifting your wrist like, okay. And then it's like relax your eyebrow. Now relax your left eyebrow. Now relax the muscles behind your eye. Now relax your nose. And then it's like you kind of move through, and sometimes it's muscle relaxation, sometimes it's just focus. Like let your mind's eye, your focus rest over your left ear. Now your left earlobe. Now your chin. Now your neck. Like it sounds strange, but when you do that and you progress through all the way from the top of your head down to the tips of your toes, it just reminds you that you're in your body. It reminds you that you're a human being here in the present. And often for me, that deeply resets me. And there's been a ton of studies on it. There's been lots of data and science to show that it's super restorative, comparable in many cases to something like a nap. Deep rest, big psychological refreshment.
I feel like it would also remind you that you have control over your body.
Yeah. And control over your awareness, right? Because so much of the anxiety or the stress is, I just feel like everything's coming at me all at once. And you almost feel like overwhelmed by all the onslaught of thoughts. So to slow down your awareness and focus it in on all these different points along your body is, it gets your focus back on the right place too.
This is something you recently did?
It's like they have different timed ones. Most of them are like 15 to 20 minutes. So I'll do one of those maybe in the middle of my day, especially if I do counseling sessions on Tuesdays and Wednesdays. So I might kind of plan a break in the middle of my day to kind of do one of those right in the middle so that I can kind of go into my next session really refreshed and really focused, especially if I have clients with like high amounts of trauma where I have to be like hyper focused. I'll refresh in that way, and that's really, really nice.
That's interesting. I hear a lot of people do that to go to sleep.
Yeah. Well,
I feel like it would work.
Yeah. Does it? I think it does. For me, it'll actually keep me up because I'm like focusing so hard on different parts of the body that it almost does the opposite for me. But I know for some people, they'll do muscle relaxation kind of sleep meditations that, will put them to sleep.
Yeah, just let go.
Have you ever done
that
anything
tension.
like that? Those mental kind of...
I feel like I've seen a lot of the TikToks where people are like really, really close, kind of like similar style to like how we film ours. And then they'll be like, now drop your tongue from the roof of your mouth. And I've seen like a million of those. I'm sure we've even done one of those. So I've seen a lot of those. And then those always catch me. And I'm like, wait a second. Yeah.
Everyone listening right now is like, wait, what? My tongue? How did you know that my tongue is at the roof of my mouth?
I'm watching.
Shocked.
I know.
Yeah, I'm watching.
But so, I haven't done any like guided meditation or guided anything. I find my ADHD kind of kicks in and overpowers that. So I kind of lean into my ADHD and I kind of lean into, okay, let's move for me. Mm-hmm. And I find that's kind of relaxing.
That's nice.
Like if I go on a run and I really pay attention to, I guess I kind of do it when I'm running. I pay attention to my heart and my breathing, and I'm almost counting to a point where there's a rhythm, and then I'm very conscious of what's moving, what muscle I'm using, and that kind of keeps me aware. Versus just, I don't think I could sit down and do that. I think I have to.
I know a lot of runners who report that. Yeah, a lot of runners who get into this flow state, this mental kind of zone when they go on a run. That would kind of probably mimic some of what we're talking about. I have a friend who's a street photographer, and what he'll do is he'll go on runs, but he's always kind of keeping his eyes out and looking for kind of scenes that he would photograph. So he doesn't carry a camera with him or anything, but he's just like always looking for those perfectly composed shots, and just that creative focus of looking for beauty on his run keeps his mind just zoomed in on one thing, and that's refreshing in a very similar way. Yeah,
that's one of the things that I do without music, without podcasts, without anything. I just run, especially in the winter. It's so nice hearing the crunch, like the ASMR of your feet hitting the snow.
Do you like ASMR? Do you like that stuff?
Disrupted? ASMR?
ASMR? Do you like all that?
No.
Neither do I. It's the worst. But get it away from me.
But here's the thing. Our voices,
I think ASMR
are used for ASMR.
Go ahead. Sorry, go ahead. They are?
Yeah. There's a lot of people that listen to us that like the sound of our voice.
That's
over
true.
What we're saying.
I've been told that a few times.
Yeah.
I think ASMR is my hate language. You know how there's love languages? I think it's my hate language. Like if you're like smacking your chops or, I don't know, like squeezing something crackly or slurpy and you're doing that right in my ear, I'm like, oh, we're not friends anymore. Get away from me. Like, I hate you. I hate you. Stop it. That's how I feel. So sorry, anyone out there doing DMR. I'm getting tongue tied because I'm in an EMDR training, so I'm used to saying that over and over. I don't hate anyone that does whatever that's called. That you're probably nice people, probably, but I don't want to hear it.
I'm with you on that. I can't do it.
Would you do it though if everyone demanded it of you? Because you do. You have this dark, smoky voice that's very prone to ASMR.
Absolutely not.
You wouldn't?
No. I don't think. I really like. Okay, I like the Calm app. I would do something like that. I would gladly put somebody to sleep.
Yeah.
But I don't think I could do the whole touching a water bottle, glugging it. Like that's not for me.
Yeah, the glugging. Yeah, that's not for me either. I think there really is. I think it's just a disposition thing. I think there's some folks who really find it calming and really love just the audio stimulation. It actually soothes their anxiety. And there's something to that. There's some real science to that. The inner ear is connected to cranial nerves that can soothe anxiety. There's a bunch of inner ear stuff in something called polyvagal theory that is kind of niche psych theory, but there's something to it. So I would imagine that someone slurping and guzzling or whatever can soothe anxiety on a technical level. But then there's the whole like kind of world where it's more for arousal and it's more to kind of enjoy sensual pleasure. And I know nothing about that because I hate it no matter what. So the idea of including that in something like sensual pleasure, I'm like, wow, if you wanted to make a terrible thing worse,
you got
that's
it.
a way to do it. But yeah, for me though, that's not how my inner ear desires to be tickled. So I hated that I said that. I said that out loud and immediately judged myself for it.
One of the things that I've been doing lately, which is kind of odd, my girlfriend has been sick this past week with a flu or whatever. She thought it was COVID, but she's been sick.
I'm sorry.
And she's been watching Zoella and Alfie Days on repeat. They're two British YouTubers that like go back to the OG of YouTube. And they're great. They're amazing. They're lovely people. Oh my gosh. I am done hearing their voices. Every time I would walk into the kitchen, their videos would be playing every minute of every day for the last like 8 days.
Yeah.
So I am.
So their voices have registered for you, and you're like, I'm done.
Yeah. For now, they're great people. I love them.
I feel that way about Blippi. I mean,
is that a kid's
I could strangle
show?
that dude. I shouldn't say that on a podcast. I'm sure he's a great guy. I have no feelings of violence towards Blippi. It's a kid's TV show on YouTube, and he just has like a kind of a light cartoonish voice. I have nothing to criticize. He's great. His show's great. We watch it very frequently, and there's something about just the animated, childlike way that he talks that I've grown to. Just my nervous system has grown to resist. So
what I've been doing is I'll take noise canceling headphones and I'll put them on. And then I've been cooking with noise canceling headphones. And for some reason, that relaxes me. That puts me in this state of like, I'm chopping the best I've ever chopped.
Wow.
Yeah, maybe you got to do that.
I've never thought to cook. I wear noise canceling headphones constantly. I wear them not listening to music more than I do listening to music.
Which ones do you have?
I essentially wear them. I use the AirPod Pros. So I wear them mostly as earplugs.
I use
if I'm at a
big bad boys.
Oh yeah, I have those too. Yeah, those are good.
Yeah.
But if I'm out, like if I'm shopping, grocery shopping, I'm almost always wearing AirPod Pros, and then almost always never listening to something.
But having noise canceling on.
Yeah, but having noise canceling, like utter silence. Yeah, almost always. Sometimes a podcast, but
do you get a lot of people stopping you to come up to you and say hi?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So sometimes that does prevent that, which does allow me to get stuff done, which is nice. I never get upset when anyone comes up and says hi, but the AirPods do kind of give a signal that Matthias is doing something.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's why my favorite place is the grocery store. I love going to the grocery store. Yeah. It's, oh my God, it's my heaven. I don't know why, something about the chaos. So I won't wear my AirPods just because.
Oh, you like all the hustle, rustle, and bustle?
Yeah. Just because I walk in there and I know that everybody's kind of in the same situation. Like everyone's feeling the exact same. Everyone's kind of stressed. They got to get food on the table.
Everyone's
They're all hustling.
Pissed.
Yeah. But then I'm there and I'm chilling. I am stress-free. I'm in a wonderful spot in my life where I'm self-employed. I can go to a grocery store at 1 p.m. on a Tuesday and just sit in it. And I just watch people. And so like people going to Costco, a lot of people hate going to Costco. I love it because I'm like, these people are running and I'm okay to just be. And I think I like going to that because it reminds me that we're all kind of like still in the same world. We're not all that different. We're all hustling to put food on the table. And I just like...
That's really sweet.
Yeah, I just take my moment to kind of watch it all happen, all the chaos happen, and people stress, and people get really sweaty when they're trying to find gala apples. I just kind of enjoy it.
Yeah. That's really sweet. I order my groceries online.
What?
We have them delivered.
Oh, I would gladly shop for you.
Yeah. I actually don't mind it myself. Paige doesn't enjoy it, but I go to the grocery store sometimes. I don't mind it so much. I did get, you brought it up, I got stopped in the grocery store recently, and it was a funny exchange where I felt pretty embarrassed. Where I was in line to get my groceries, and then someone ran up and was like, "Hey, you're the guy from TikTok." I'm like, "Yeah." And then we had like this little exchange, and then my cashier was like, "What was all that about?" And I'm like, "Oh, I make videos on the internet." He saw me from one of those. And he's like, "What kind of videos?" And then I'm like, videos on mental health. And he's like, "What? So you're famous or something?" And he kind of gave me this look, like, and I'm like, no. I mean, is TikTok famous? Like, I don't know. It's just TikTok. And then he's like, "So what? He likes your video. Like, why did he want to talk to you?" And I caught myself in this moment where I'm trying to explain to this person, like, why he stopped to talk, and I just tripped over my words, and I had no idea, and I just started sounding like an idiot. And then the person, like, there was another person there who was like filling the grocery bag, was like looking and just kind of giving me the wide eye, like, ooh, this is awkward. Yeah. And then I'm like, all right, bye. And I got in the car, and I'm like, you just feel like, oh man, I don't know what to think about that interaction. I don't have a point on that story. It was just awkward, and I felt bad.
That's happened.
It wasn't the person's fault who said hi. They were completely pleasant. It was the person who's like, "Explain to me why you're known." And I'm like, I don't know if I am. I think it's just that one person. But go ahead.
I've been through that a lot. And
a lot?
Like a lot. Like an odd amount of times. Wait, I'm just going to stop my video and then restart.
Yeah, go ahead.
I've been through that situation several times, and it's always in a place that you wouldn't really think I was going to have somebody that watches my stuff. Like, I'll go to a golf course. I don't think that there's going to be somebody there that knows who I am. No. I feel like, I mean, my YouTube analytics are kind of weird. I have like 40% the male audience, which is quite high for my stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that is.
But normally it's not that. I got stopped at the golf course, and then every other old dude in the club was like, "Wait, so what do you do?" And I had to try to explain it, and I was like, "Oh." And that's happened so many times to the point where now I'm just like, I just kind of own it. I just say what I do.
OnlyFans.
I say,
is that what you say?
I
do OnlyFans. Yeah.
I say I do OnlyFans, and then their eyes just sparkle. They're ready. Their wallets are out. What a tangent.
That should be my blanket answer now.
And that's what I do when I'm feeling down. I go to golf clubs and I find the old men for OnlyFans.
To sign up for your OnlyFans. Yeah, dude, that's the worst position to be in, I think. Is trying to explain to someone why you're known. I need to find a better way of just backing out of that conversation. Be like, oh, I don't know. I think you mistook me for someone else. And then I can walk away. It's never the people who come up and say hi that I feel awkward with. I'm always happy. If someone got something out of a video of mine and want to say hi, I'm never feel interrupted. I never feel irritated with it. They're never making it weird, ever. I'm always pleasant. It's the people who observe it and then have questions. That's always the weird part. It's the baristas and it's the grocery store folks who make me feel weird about it. And oh man, I don't mean to come off really harsh towards them. I'm sure, whatever.
I much rather prefer somebody come up to me and say hi than somebody follow me around the grocery store and watch my every move.
That's happened.
Yeah.
I have people tag me in photos that they take of me in public.
Yeah.
That's the weird one, right? You're like sitting there eating a taco with your kids, and then someone's like, oh, I gotta start with that. It tagged on Instagram, and you're like, oh. I mean, say hi. You can even ask for a picture. Just that makes you feel.
I have a really good rep of finding the camera when that's happening, and like I
look
so pissed. I look right at it and I just shake my head because I don't mind if some I love it when people come to say hi, but that scenario, like there's definitely a different way to approach that than zooming in on you and your kids eating tacos. Like no,
I don't know how far you want to go down this conversation because I imagine that it's irritating listening to people talking about a topic like this, but I just got one more, then we can move on. Yeah. My least favorite is the drive-by. So someone will just walk very quickly towards me and then just be like, I like your videos, and then just keep walking. You know what I mean? It's like, or they'll reach out a fist bump, which is fine. I'm down for a fist bump. Oh, like, your videos mean a lot to me. Can I see you later? And then it's usually a guy. And it just the drive-by is like, really like yourself, okay, bye. And I'm like, just stop and have an interaction. Like, I'd love to talk to you. That'd be great. But it's almost like disorienting. I'm like, where are they coming from? And my preference is always that people would stop, say hi, and get to talk for a little bit because I love that.
Just be 20 seconds. I'm quite good at it. I feel like I've had a lot of training of doing like just meet and greets and stuff. Which I do love it, but I also know that it's an emotional situation for a lot of people. They're out of their comfort zone saying hi to a stranger that they know way too much about, and the stranger doesn't know anything about them. So and the people that probably watch both of our stuff aren't necessarily, the most outgoing a lot of the time. A lot of them are kind of like more inward and more introverted.
Yeah, not mine. Maybe that's you. I mean, and I love it. I'm not saying that as a critique. I get some big extroverts that come up and say, I love it. That's great. Yeah. I have a story. I was on the other side of this because I was thinking about, like, oh yeah, do I feel nervous going up to people? I rarely go up to people. If I recognize someone, I'll almost never go up and say hi, but I've gone up twice in recent history and had some unique experiences. So the first one was awful. And that was, I'm a big fan of Casey Neistat. He's a YouTuber. Right. And so there's this guy named Oscar who is a frequent on the Casey Neistat vlog and is a friend of Casey's. He's like a filmmaker. He's doing stuff anyway. I was in Manhattan and I saw him on the subway and I wanted to take a snap of him and send it to a friend like, oh, look, it's Oscar. Isn't that cool? And so I'm being the guy that I was just criticizing, the guy who like takes photos and then like from a distance. So yeah, I'm also that guy. So I reached my phone up, I'm being real sly, and I'm trying to just take a pic, but my flash is on. So I'm like, my flash just goes off like almost like right in his face, and my camera's pointed right at him. And I'm on a subway. I can't leave. I can't go. And I'm like, my bad. And it just didn't know what to say at all. And it was a terrible, awkward situation. And I think it was like 6 years ago. And I haven't stopped thinking about it. And maybe not 6, maybe 3-4 years ago. I think about it almost once a week. And I'm like, so Oscar, if you're listening.
You doing that.
Okay, the other one was, dude, I was so embarrassed, but I get it. The other one was I saw Bobby Lee, the comedian.
Yes.
Out. And I was stoked. I was with a group of guys. We were all like hanging out. It was actually a bachelor party. And so Bobby Lee, and I was like, oh no, it's Bobby Lee. And I was like, we should go talk to him. Like, oh, I'll go talk to him. So I went up and I'm like, Bobby. And then he's there with a kid. And I think, I don't think it was his kid, maybe his nephew or something. And he's screaming at him. Just like, what are you doing? What are you thinking about? Like, I can't believe you did it. Just yelling. But he's a comedian, right? Like, I don't know if he's like just being funny. I think he's being funny. He might have just been screaming at some kid. And I don't know if it's
not
his
even
kid,
his
whatever.
kid.
So I don't know. That doesn't, for some reason, alarm me. So I approach him anyway, screaming at this kid. And I'm like, Bobby! And so I yell, because he's yelling, I have to yell over his voice. And I'm like, Bobby! And he looks at me and he's like, hey, I'll just hold on 1 second. Really calm, really quiet. Yep, just hold on 1 second. What do you think? And he keeps just like laying in this kid. But then the kid's laughing and he's like giggling. And I'm like, oh, okay, all right, he's in on it. And then he comes back over to me and then he just gives me this big hug. And I'm like, this is interesting. And then he just looks me right in the eye and he says, I love you. And then he walks away. And I'm like, wow, that was interesting.
Yeah.
And then the kid's mom walks around the corner and then goes, Matthias? And then comes up to me. She's like, I follow your TikToks. And I'm like, oh. And then I'm hoping that Bobby would be over there, like, here, Diddy, that, but he was completely disinterested and walked off. And I'm like, oh, wait, no, what? And I'm hoping like we could strike up like a conversation, but that didn't turn into anything. And he left.
Wow.
And that's my experience meeting Bobby Lee.
He is a master of a short conversation.
It was really impactful. He owned it. Screamed, set a boundary, said, hold on, I'm screaming at this kid. Give me a second. Continued to scream, came up, just gave me all the affection you could ever hope from a hero. And looked me right in the eye, said, I love you. And then off in the way that he came. So
maybe that's what we all need when we're having a bad day, is just a hug from Bobby Lee and I love you.
Is that how we should greet people now? If someone comes up and says hi to us, should we just embrace them? We can't do that. Most of the people that say hi to me are women, and that would come off. That would give the wrong signal.
So maybe we should do the other side of it and just scream at kids.
Yeah, no, we should not do that. Well, how do we end this episode?
I feel like we just did.
We wandered a pretty far away from how do you help someone on a bad day.
Yeah, but maybe this is how you help somebody on a bad day, to listen to this.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, that's a good thought.